Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. I was dropped off this truck. It's a 50 Chevy pickup. It was a 3-window cab. This is the back of the cab. And, quick little change it over to a 5-window. Shouldn't be nothing to that. What a nightmare. Stick around. So, it'd be nice if we can get back on this one. The owner was here, and we turned around and we went through a bunch of stuff, and he ordered a whole bunch of parts for this car. Steering column, gauges, knuckles, a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to need to actually mount this and get this all done, and I'm waiting on parts. So some of the stuff was special order, and it's going to take a while for it to come in, so he decided to send me another project. This is his 50 Chev pickup. It's like a patinaed truck. It's S10 chassis, full air ride. It's got a small block Chevy in it. I don't know if it's a 350 or a 4-speed in it. It's a tiny little truck. He's got the interior hauled out of it. He had it all done. All the floors and everything all done. It's done with all old jeans and stuff like that. So it's neat old thing. There's the center console with these cup holders. You got all the rat rod stuff going on there. He has a collection of cars, vehicles. This is very strange for him to have this because he's very meticulous at what he has. He has beautiful finished cars and very well built. He has 4 or 5 cars. Maybe someday I'll take you down and show you his collection, if he'll let me. As you can see, it's got all the amenities. AC, power brakes, power steering. It's got all that. Little small block. Nothing fancy. Manifolds on it. Nice little build, okay? It's a regular, what they call like a 3-window cab, okay? He wants me to adapt this 5-window cab roof into it, okay? This is what I got to do. They did bolt on down through here, but the problem with it is, from the factory, they were done that way, and then they were welded, okay? So I'm going to size up what's involved with this section down here. I'm going to be taking it from here up somewhere. I'm not quite sure yet. I might take it right through the belt line and weld it on. I got an idea of possibly taking it through here. I don't know. I might take it from all the way up here. I don't know. I got to size things up. Figure out what is the easiest way to install this roof. So I got the roof taken out of the back of the truck here, and I've been sizing everything up. There's a number of ways that I can actually put this roof on that, okay? The proper way would be to drill out all the spot welds, take it all apart in pieces, put it all back together again, and weld it all back together again. Join it in through the factory leaded seam up here in the front. I'm in my light right here, across the front of the windshield, all that type of stuff. The problem you're going to run into drilling out all the spot welds on something like this here is you're going to end up destroying a lot of it, okay? All these window openings, because they're all spot welded. There's an inner panel on this here as well that has to be removed if you were going to do it that way. I'm trying to stay away from doing too much of that. Another problem I got is this. So this here is spot welded to this. This is spot welded to this. So you got to drill this out, remove this, and drill that out. I don't need to remove this. I've done work like this before, drill stuff out. And I'm finding the way, most times you drill out like 70s cars, stuff like that, there's a lot of metal in the spot weld. These here, there's not a lot there. There's not much of a lip there, as you can see down through there. So when I start drilling out all them spot welds, I'm going to end up mangling this whole lip. That's what's going to end up happening there. So I'm just going to do a cut and fit, that type of thing. Cut it off somehow, do a butt weld, do an overlap weld, and then do the cut and boss. This is the whole point I got with this here. Now, how far do I take it over? Do I take the whole front? Do I take it back through here? There's a number of different ways of doing it. Some people will just take it and cut it off down through the post here, take it through here. and then take it down through here, and then put the whole roof on it. Problem I got, this truck is a runner, and it's got all the glass and everything in it, the visors on it, the whole 9 yards. And we've been discussing what way to do this. It is a patinaed truck, okay? This is not a pristine restoration. So the idea I have in my head is to take it right across through here. Take the whole works out of it. I can't just put this section in, the quarter windows in. The inner panel is totally different, okay? If you look here, there's an inner structure. This inner structure belongs to those windows. These are joined on from the inside. When you turn around and drill out all these spot welds, these are spot welded here, so you got to take all this to replace it all. I don't want to disturb none of this. I'd like to leave that there. The plan here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off here, and cut it across this way here, and do a cutting butt in through here on the roof. I'll do a cut to fit on the sides, leave an overlap on the top, and then I'll do a cutting butt across the top side here. So next thing I'm going to have to do here now is I'm going to have to gut the interior in this here. He's had most of it all out of it now. There's only 8 in it. But I got to get all this out, get the headliner out of it, get all that done. So let's get started. So I got everything stripped out of the interior. I got the glass taken out, the headliner, haul all the wiring out. All the seals and everything around the doors, the battery. There was a whole bunch of wiring that ran through the roof. That ran over across here, down here, and over to the battery. Power all the air ride and whatnot. I'm sitting here now, sizing up where I'm going to start to make the cuts. And where I'm going to decide on it. My plan is to cut it in through here somewhere. I'm thinking about trying to remove this belt line. I'm here now sizing up the roof section. The belt line is this lower section here, okay? This is the section I want to remove off it, which is this part of the cab. But I want to retain this here. The problem I'm having is the inner structure, this inner section, is above all of this, okay? It's bolted on through there and it's also welded on through there. I'm just going to blindly go on and cut this piece out of the way here now, right along that edge there. I'm just going to cut that off there first and size things up, clean up that edge, just see what's involved with it. Can I drill out spot welds here to get this so that I can actually slide a new piece in there and do it that way? That's what I like to do that way. I haven't got no welding on the bottom other than get into the cab and spot weld here. I will have welding in here somewhere, and I'll have welding up here somewhere, and of course across the roof. That's the plan. So I got the panel cut out of the way here. What I'm left with is I got an inner panel, okay? I have bolts in it. I unbolted the bolts. That was bolted to that there. Now there's another section right here, that other lip. That's the piece I'm trying to get out. If you look over here and you come across the side of it, this is the bottom of the cab. Right here, you can see this section. That's this section right here on the cab. Right here, this is the part I'm looking at here now, and all I have left is just a sliver of metal right here. I'm trying to separate this from this here. And this is what I got here going on. Now, what's weird about this, I'm trying to figure it out how this truck was put together from factory, because usually the steps of the welding process will explain a lot of stuff. It seemed to me that the cab was welded to the roof section was welded to the bottom of the cab before this interior panel was put in it, okay? This intersection here, because this was put into place and these bolts are put in it, because this is welded behind this. It's hard to see there, but like over here, I'm starting to separate it, okay? And I can see the spot welds in it. This part here is not welded on, okay? You can take this section here and pry back on. It's not welded on. But that little sliver of metal in behind is welded to that, with spot welds going this way. Now, I can't get at spot welds because I don't know where to. What I'm at over here now is I'm actually just prying it apart and breaking the spot welds. They seem to break pretty easy, which is unusual for a spot weld. I'm just hammering them in through there and finding where to and then breaking them as I'm going along. It seems like it's going to be the only way I'm going to get two of them separated. Now over here, my plan is I'm going to cut it off here and I'm going to drill these out. So that way, when I get in on the bottom side and I put it up in place, I'll be able to weld it back on again, okay? One of the biggest problems you got with restoring old cars is when you want to use factory pieces, is taking them apart. You can look here and you can see the spot welds right here. You see how close that is to the edge there, the two of them there? By the time he drills that out and drills that out, this is all going to fall away to nothing. There's going to be nothing left here in this corner. This entire lip is going to end up being destroyed. Look, right there, there's two right next to each other right there. Okay? This always is a problem because you're trying to, like, the roof skin, this outer skin, was welded to the back of the truck. Then this inner structure, which is this section here, if you look inside, you see that section there around the windows, that was put on after the roof was welded on, okay? So, and then the bolts are put up through, it was bolted on there, and then it was spot welded on around the windows. So in order for us to remove this, do this properly, we got to take all these out, because this entire panel has to come out in order to do it. So I'm trying to cheat and just trying to find a way around it by letting this go here. I'm going to play with this a bit more, see if I can get it apart and see what's involved with it, and I'll bring you back when it gets more done. You see me here, I got an old air chisel tip. It's nice and thin. And I got a hammer. Tony, why don't you just take an air chisel and take it off an air chisel? Years of experience has taught me that if I had to take an air chisel into this here, I was destroying something, okay? It's just way too powerful. Trying to cut this off. I prefer to do it this way here. I got full control over every smack. Because you'll find, what I'm looking at down here now, if you can see it, it's hard to see. I'm trying to get the spot weld to tear this piece and not this piece, okay? This is what I'm watching for. See it down here. Tear this piece, not this piece. Because that's what a spot weld does. It'll actually tear the metal, okay? Come down through here, you can see where I got a hole put this one here and a hole put this one here. This is what I'm trying to control, is letting go the spot weld that way there. I can't drill them out from here because I don't know where the spot weld's to. And they seem to be breaking pretty easy, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it that way. But I figured I'd just point it out. You see me there going with the hammer and chisel. I'm going to continue on and let this go. So I went ahead and I got all that separated. All down through there. You can see where I broke all the spot welds off. Took my time. About 20 minutes, I suppose. 15, 20 minutes. I got all that go. Now, my next dilemma. There's a lip on that panel. You see the lip here. If you look at it, there's a lip right here. And that lip goes right along inside behind the back of that. So all this here has been moved out. Now I'm looking at the whole point of putting it all back together again, what I'm involved with. The only thing that this panel here is doing is it bolts on in here. It doesn't weld on nowhere else. It just bolts on here and here and stuff like that. So all this panel here don't touch nothing, or it doesn't hold on nothing. It doesn't, you know, give you anything. The problem I'm going to have is I'm not going to be able to spot weld nothing from the bottom side. So I'm going to notch this and cut sections out of this so I can actually get this back in here so I can spot weld that back on again from inside the cab. It's going to be tricky because I'm going to be lying on my back to do it. But like, I'm here thinking ahead, trying to decide, you know, what's involved with when it goes to put this back together. That's one of the dilemmas, so I'm going to cut all that off here. The next one I got is these braces, okay? These braces are these ones here, okay? I got to keep these, retain these, and they're spot welded on in through there. Okay, this entire panel is gone. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to drill these out, okay? Now, I know for a fact these are spot welded on separately from the outer skin, okay? The way these are done. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill right on down through to hold the two panels and then leave the holes there. So when I put the other ones back in place, I'm going to cut them out and clean them all up smooth. When I put them back up in place, I'll have holes here that I can clamp to and I can plug weld from this side out here. I'm not going to be able to do nothing from the back side here, but I'll be able to do it from inside the cab there, right? So I'm here thinking ahead of what I'm getting myself into here. There's a lot of work here, okay? So I'm going to trim all that off. That's it. You can see now how I tore the actual spot weld. Some dandy ones there. Here you go, look. All I want to do is tear this piece. Okay. So I got that removed. You see the little lip on the inside there. So it's going to cause a headache. I'm going to bend these tabs back here now. Just bend them back enough and leave them like that. And what I'll do is when I put the cab back on and I got a fitting, I'll bend them back and put the bolts back in it there. That'll just give it a little bit more support to that. This here serves no other purpose other than just the shape of that. So now, get these drilled out. So I'm here drilling them out now, and I just want to show you quickly what all I ever done, okay? There's spot weld tools, all that type of foolishness is out there. I can guarantee that all I've ever done. 1/8 drill bit and a 5/16 bit, okay? That's it. It's all I ever done. They're disposable. You can buy two-sided ones, buy a pack of them, whatnot. And of course, you get a good drill bit. I hate the gold drill bits, them ones there, and the bigger ones. These are the old black style ones. I love these because you can sharpen these right nice. But that's all I do to drill out spot welds. Now here's something interesting. A lot of fellas are always talking about what do you do about the bare metal and why are you going to do the painted. This is possibly a 1950, 51, 52 Chevy Truck cab, okay? It's been left out in the elements. You can see it's rusty. Okay? Well, you look right here. That's bare metal. That's all bare metal there. And this here, look. You look at it. See the shininess there, look. That's bare metal. That's been there since the 50s. Welded on there. And it never rusted. Okay? So, a lot of old cars are built like this, just this bare metal in between all the panels. All this here was bare metal when it was first assembled. Most times back in the 40s and the 50s, the cars were welded together and then sent out to be painted. It was only until the 70s that they actually come up with the idea of dipping cars, okay? And used to dip them down and try to save them from rusting. Of course, today they're all dipped, okay? But that's the... goes to show you that just because there's bare metal there doesn't mean it's going to rust out. Okay? It's there a long time. That's been bare metal longer than I've been alive, so that's interesting. I'm old. But I just want to put that out. I got these all drilled out 1/8. I'm going to go ahead now, drill them out with the 5/16 and get them off. So here's where I'm to. I got everything limbed off it. I took all the pieces off around the window. I got everything taped up so I don't burn the glass or nothing like that. In here I taped up the gauges, I taped up the windshield, done the same thing over there. I got all the trim removed from around the sides. I'm ready now to start figuring out the next stage of this. What I want to do now is I want to put a frame in here, because when I cut this section of the roof off from here to here, there's going to be nothing holding this up. So I got to build some sort of structure here that I can actually put in here that I can still get in and work on the truck, but and I can close the doors, but it'll hold this up. I have an abundance of this, it looks to be about 1.5 inch by 1/2 inch square stock kicking around. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to cut that off the lengths and I'm going to build a frame in there now. What I got done here is that I got to build something in this here that I can still get in at the truck, because I want to get up inside here, so I have to get underneath here to get up here, right? I don't want the roof, when I cut the roof off here, I don't want the roof to fall. So I got this brace welded from here to the top here. Now, I don't want the works of it to come in against each other, so I put a brace across here to keep it going this way here. Down here, when I cut the back off it, I don't want the back of this falling out this way here, so I put this brace here, and I don't want this tipping back, so I welded that to this brace here. So I got it all framed in. You can get carried away with this, okay? I want to be able to get into it, and the biggest thing of all is I want to be able to close the door, okay? This is the key to this here. Here, you can sit down and take 100 measurements when you're cutting cars up, roofs, the whole 9 yards. I'm a firm believer the best measuring device you got is the panel itself, okay? Use the door or a fender or whatever you're doing at the time, use that to fit everything to make sure that your gaps are right and all that type of stuff, okay? This one here, now these old trucks, they are brutal, okay? It's really wide up here on the top, and then it closes up back here. You would think to move the door back to fix this problem here, but if you move the door back, you'll overlap here, okay? There you go, that's better. You'll overlap here. This is the problem you're going to run into. See the gap you got here now? So if you want to open up that gap because it's tight up here on the top, these trucks were brutal for it, okay? What I always found that a lot of these they were just way to resigned, and what ends up happening is this shape here, if you put a square box in it and that door was square itself, this here square box is out of kilter, okay? And what I've done on a number of these trucks is I've turned around, and especially they're great when the floors are gone. You can cut them down through here and the floors are bad and the mounts are bad and stuff like that. You can tweak them this way here and you can twist the cab to get a nicer door seam, okay? I've done that on a few of these. You cannot, like, you would think right here, just lean the door back on the top, open up the gap on the top. But when you open up the gap on the top, this here goes down, okay? This is the way a door works, like this here. Here's your door here. So if you want to move it back on the top, that's what's going to happen, okay? If you put it back in the same place again, and you want to move the bottom up, this is what will happen. Everything will change on the top side of the door when you move the bottom, okay? So just remember that. And I'm going to use this door. The fitment that this truck has now is what I'm going after, okay? I'm not getting into cutting none of this stuff up, because, like, you know, we can sit down and try to make all this perfect, but that's not the purpose of this truck. This truck is a fun little cruiser, and you can put hours and hours in these projects, and it's, you know, you can get carried away with it. So now that I got that all figured out, and I can get in there, and I just welded up that stuff. I never got carried away welding it up either. I got like 1-inch beads put on it. There's nothing welded on here and stuff like that. This is only temporary stuff. I want to be able to get in here is the biggest thing for me. So I'm going to start sizing up, or we're going to start making the cuts too. My first cuts are going to be above everything so I can trim it up later. So I'm going to size everything up, because right here I got it set up so I can cut up here somewhere, but I think I'm going to take it through the corner first. Cut it off here, right across. I want to get this intersection out and get this bottom cleaned up. That's all I'm after. I'm not worried about the top up here yet. So I'll start sizing it up, make a few marks, figure things out. So sizing things up here, I got a lot going on in this section right here, okay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get a bulk out of the way, a bulk of it. I'm going to cut above it, because there's nothing up here holding it together. Now there's a piece coming down through here. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to have trouble in this area here, right here between these two panels. But I'm going to get this section out of the way. I'm just going to cut it clean right off here, because I have down to here on this roof here. Down this lower section here, I can come on down to here. I got lots of excess here, and of course I got the whole roof on the other side. And I'm just going to take it into the corner here first and cut it across the back this way here. Just get it out of my way, because I have some major dents on the other roof, and I'm sizing up, possibly taking it in through here yet. I don't know, might be trouble, but I'm just going to leave it alone for now, just to get the piece out of the way. And I'm going to cut it right through the middle of this here and cut it off there. So I'm going to work on getting this section out of the way here first. I made short order of that. It came out nice. I was concerned about how this was going to work up here, because if you look at this panel, you can see this is inside. Now, I can turn around. I would like to be able to weld it through here. That's what I like to do, because the problem I got is on this roof, I got some massive dents right along that edge. Over on this side here, I got a bunch of dents in here and here and here. And if I can take that through there, I can straighten up them dents and be able to put them in, right? The only thing I'm worried about is on the crown, but so I should get away with it, right? But I'm thinking that's what I'm going to end up doing with it. Taking just that section there. You can see the way I cut the side. So I wrapped around. It came in through. You can see how these are put together now. The roof skin comes down, comes over and comes down as welded on through here. And this comes down, then that's welded onto there. So you got a whole bunch of spot welds in here, and then you got a whole bunch of spot welds in here. Take that apart. And of course, then you got a little brace here that comes out through it. And then of course you got the inner rubber mount, and then you got the C-channel, right? Now I still got all this here to come out. All that will be left was this lip that's in here and the bottom section of this cab. All of this has to go. I'm going to leave these braces here. They're going to stay. I got to cut around them. I got to clean them off. Remove all the metal off them, because I already have holes in these ones here to weld them back on, okay? Because they'll clamp on there, and I can just weld from the other side here, right? So I got a bit of work ahead of me. I got to find all the spot welds in here. Now I'm going to drill these right out, because I got to get in on the bottom side here and come up through here and weld them on here. That's what I got to do. And of course I got them bolts again to deal with. So I got a bit of work ahead of me, but that's the extent of that. I got it off anyway. I'm happy now I've come this far and I finally made the cut. I'm happy I made it like I did. So I'm going to sit down now and clean this stuff up. Start finding all my spot welds. I'm not going to bore you with all that, because this is going to be tedious. I say I got a few hours ahead of me cleaning all this off. So I'll bring you back from time to time, show you what I got done. So here's where I'm to. All I've been doing is I got everything cut out of the way. All I'm left with now is this lip all the way around. I got that entire inner structure removed. I just cut everything out of the way there. I chopped it down through here and unbolted the bolts that were in this here, and then I just came off. This is it here. It's the back section. See where I cut the brackets off it. This was this way here. And I just cut it off. I unbolted it. As you can see, this section is not welded onto the cab itself. It was only bolted on. That's it. That's this inner structure unit. But it's welded on the ends, which don't make sense. It's welded on there. Okay. And it broke clear on the other side for me. So. But that's it. That's one, two. Cut the lip off the back side here and brought down to this here now. I'm starting to look around now for all the spot welds. I want to drill these out. I want to go right through with them, because I want to be able to have the hole on the other side that I can weld back up through. Because over here, as you can see, I removed them with a chisel on this one here, and I'm left with solid metal. So when I have holes in the bottom piece, when I go to put it up in place, I can actually have something to weld to. So I'm going to go ahead now, start finding these, and get them drilled out. So I got this all cleaned off. I'm after finding some spots here. Got holes in that in it. Sections here are bad. This here was pretty rusty going along here, which is to be given, considering these trucks were never ever painted inside. I went ahead then and cleaned all these off. I got all the pieces of metal cut off of them and removed from them as well, from the three of them. And I got all this cleaned up here. I drilled out all the spot welds that I could and took it apart, and I just ran the grinder over it lightly just so I can get it all done there. So now what I need to do now is I'm in the process. I'm going to do more cleaning up on this later, but my biggest thing now is getting everything fitting back on the car. So I'm going to go over here now and get this here cut up so I can get a section of it out of the way, and so I can lay it up on a bench and start figuring out my cut lines and where I'm going to cut things off and whatnot. So I'm just going to get this now chopped off. So here is where I'm at. I got the roof section cut off it. And what I've been playing around with here now is figuring out how I'm going to cut this stuff to fit it on the truck itself, okay? I have percentage of this to the left here, right? So I'm sizing up, this is where I want it to be. I'm going to cut that straight in through there, and then I'm going to cut it down on an angle this way here, because the inner brace right here is welded on the inside, and I don't want to go getting into that. I want to leave that just where it's to. I'm just looking at what's in there. You know, I can actually grab a hold of all this here, so I'm just going to cut that straight off there and down through there, and that's where I intend to weld it, okay? Now, up here is a bit tricky, okay, because of the way it is, and I played around with taking some tape and then taking measurements off of this section here, and then trying to go over here and take the measurements off of this here. And what I'm noticing is that two of these roofs are different. Over on this side, you can see the hole, and you can see the piece of shape there. It's not in the same location on that one, okay? And I done a bunch of measurements from here up and stuff like that, and two of them were different. So what I ended up doing is I went up here, and I said, well, the drip rail is going to be where the drip rail is going to be. And then I marked the line straight across here. Then I used this line here, right? And I measured up to here. I measured to this point. Then I measured to this point, and I measured to this point. I came over here and turned around and done the same mark here, and used that there and measured up to this point here, to this point here, to this point here. How close am I? Fingers crossed. Hopefully I'm good. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to cut these off here, and I'm just going to cut into the metal. I got to flip this over, and I got to do a bunch of measurements on the other side to cut the back section out of it as well. So I'll go ahead now, get some more of this cut up, and I'll bring you back when I got it pretty well close to where I think this is going to go back on it. You can see now how I got it cut off. And you can see all the bracing in here. The way this here comes around the side and welds on that, so I gotta leave that piece there. And I'll cut that off the truck, on the truck itself. And I'll leave that section there. And then up here, I just gotta cut straight through all that there. So that's all let go. Now I just gotta cut the skin. So flip that over now and start measuring up so I can cut off the skin. So I took some measurements from the belt line down here up to this belt line where it's cut off here, okay? Done it in a number of places around the back side of this here. Come over here and then mark the spots where there were two, okay? Then I ran the strip of tape about 1.25 inches or so above it and marked it again all the way around. There's the original mark there. What I'll do is this will be my cut line. This is the reason why I want to join this in here. That's a hard old dent, okay? What you ends up doing there, when you start using dent pullers on them there, you just start making these little high spots all over the place, because when you're pulling out, you're only pulling a small area, and it gets to be tricky. So I'm going to cut through it, and then I can hand dolly it. Over here, same thing. Right? I got dents here, you got dent here, right? I'm just going to come over here now, come back, cut this off this way here, and I got lots of excess there to turn around and to have it so. My plan is to have it so it just overlaps for now, and I get these sections here fitting properly here, and then I can come back here and start fine-tuning the overlap. So I made short order of that, and I got it cut off. Now you can see over here what I'm talking about. You can see the panel in here, and here's a dent, right? So there was no way of getting in behind it, because this here is flush with the roof. It's that tight, you can actually see they actually roll this edge down in order to get the actual skin to fit it. And so now I can just get in here, and I can dolly all this up here, and work it all out, and get it all straightened away. Same one over on this side here. This one here is probably the hardest one I'm going to have to get out. Is that one there, but the rest of them seem fine. But I can still get behind it, so I'll play around with that and see if I can get that out of there and get all that work there. So I got that ready to go. I got to trim up the truck cab here now. I got to trim these off. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut that across here, like so, and I'm going to cut that down there a bit and cut that off there to get that out of the way, so that way it'll fall down in place there. And I'll do the same with over there as well. So, but I'm going to go ahead and get some of these dents and everything taken out of this here now, and get this ready to see if I can do a test fit on it. So I went ahead and I worked all the dents out of them. Over here is the one you can probably notice the best. This one over here. Got the dent gone out of it here. I never used nothing. This is all I used was here. You know, I had my spoon, right? I never used no fancy tools. I just pried up on it and bent up on it. I had a flat bar, flat piece of plate here, and I used to put it in here because I didn't want to dent this here. So I was using this as a backing, and then I used to pry against here to push the dent up. And that's how I got that one out. You can see there's some marks and everything in it here I was prying up on. I'm still going to work it a bit better, but for the most part now, that's pretty well all out. But before I weld it in, I'll fine tune this and sand it and smooth it all out so that I get the metal work done right on that. Went ahead then and got these cut off. Now whether they're cut right is beyond me. I eyeball as best I could. This could be cut on an angle like this here more than the other side. You don't know, there'll be a big gap here. I'll be able to have to trim it up. Same with on the sides here. I trimmed all this down. I'll have to trim all this to fit. I used my best judgment. I come off of this here straight, and I had a 90 degree off the top side of the post. But I've run into a problem because I never had much of the post left here. So I just guesstimated at it and figured it was just going to be level across there. I'm not going to worry about these right yet because these got to be tucked in behind. There's going to be trouble getting everything fitting in place with them as well. I'm just trying to get this to fit in place here now and to get it tucked in here and get an idea of where this is to on the roof, okay? So I'm going to sit down now, and I also got the other side cut as well. I'm going to take this now and try to test fit it. I don't know if it's going to fit or not, and I don't know how well it's going to work. So I'll get it in place and I'll let you know, because it's going to be a struggle, me getting that up there. Well, that was an undertaking in itself, okay? You can see the way I got it overlapped up on the top side there. It is extremely tricky because of trying to slip it up underneath that there and trying to get this to tip in. The distance from here to here is taller than here to here. And this here, trying to get in over the back corner, it is slow going. I had to cut the roof clear here. I had to put blocks of wood underneath them there on both sides in order to get this to slide in. I got a lip in here that has a slide up between the two panels, and the original front, the inside panel here slides out this way here and had a lip on it. This was put on after this was joined to this, okay? And this panel here goes over this panel here, and I can't have that. It's not going to work. I've had to trim some of it off, but now like there's a little, this here goes in, if you remember now, and got like a little lip on it. I can either cut the lip off it, or I can cut the lip off of this inner structure here. Now this inner structure here is solid. It's just that when it was assembled, they used the holes in the back of this here to align this piece, and then they welded it in. Once it's welded in, it's welded in. I think I'm going to have to figure out a way. I'm going to have to trim off that inner lip there and eliminate it altogether. There's no way around it. I'm not removing this inner panel. It's not happening. These here are going to be trouble because I need to lift this up in order to get them in there. I'm hoping I might be able to get it with this what I got done here. I might try jacking it up a small bit and have it so it slips in behind it. It is hard, I'm telling you. There's nothing easy about this. The roof don't want to move up a lot. I force it up an inch, and that's as far as it wants to go. It's all being held up here on the front posts and all that type of stuff. It had to be done. Other than that, like, it's coming along pretty good. I'm getting decent fitment on it. I got to do some trimming down here. But you can see the gap here, look. This won't fall down here now because of that lip on the inside. Over here, if I hold the light up here, you might be able to see the lip in through there. And you can see the lip that's got to tuck in behind it. There's metal sticking down, and it won't go up no further. So that's been held up now from that. And over here, these here cuts are pretty decent. You can see there's a bit of an angle here and whatnot. It all had to be pulled together. I had to trim them. I think I can trim these after the fact when I get it in the car. I got the roof marked along the top here so I can trim off a portion of it. But I'm going to have to go and take this off and trim up a few things and get a better fit on it. And I'm going to have to prep everything so when I put it together for the second time, I haven't got to put it together, because I'm telling you, this is not easy. And I say it's going to be hard to get this apart. because I had to force a lot of stuff in place, hammer it in, pry things in to get in place. But I'm going to haul that off and start cleaning things up. So I finally got this removed, okay? I took this off. There's a big problem here because of the way I got this cut in this. If I had to cut this straight across the roof, it probably would have been easier, but I'm trying to keep it as low as I possibly can, and because I had to deal with dents in the corners of this up here. So I chose to do it on this corner here. Now the problem I'm having is that I cannot get the roof up high enough to slip in over this lip here, okay? We got this lip here to deal with. Then down here, you can see this is supposed to fall in behind here. And behind here, this is in my way. This section right here goes right here. But in order to get it in the truck, the bottom side of this here has to be up about right here. So I gotta jack this up like that much in order to get this here in place. And I'm here sizing up. I mangled this here. I got some damage done to it. I gotta repair it. I have to repair it. And I gotta do some repairs on this here. I'm here sizing things up, trying to figure out what way. I also gotta put these in place and weld them on. And I jacked it up to try to fit them in place, and the roof slid back and it wouldn't go. And I got troubles with the roof hitting this lip. So the more I look at it here, I'm sizing things up. I'm going to have to make another cut somewhere. And what I'm thinking about doing here now to solve all this is right here. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to weld it back on, but for now, I'm going to cut that off right along there, come up through there, get rid of that altogether, and then I'll weld that back on, dress that again, keep it below that crease there. Made a last minute decision, decided, don't cut this here. I don't really need to cut this. It's only back here is giving me all the headaches. So I just cut the back section out of it. Got the lip gone and everything. Now you can get at that lip there. And I can just actually put that back in place there now and weld it in later. Put all them spot welds on them there. So them braces will be fine. They'll all work out. Got that cut out. That's ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead. I got these all marked, the holes. It seems like wherever it bolted on is where it got weak to. So I'm going to turn around now and cut out some pieces and weld some stuff in there. So I'm here now replacing sections. I replaced a section from here. I had to re-drill the hole. I went ahead and marked all the holes. It seems like everywhere the actual holes are to, that's all weak there. And what ended up happening is the entire back lift was gone and it was cracking in spots. And I had to replace one over there. This one here got damaged and was cracking down into the body, so I had to grind it off there. I got one more left. That's the section right here. You can see what I'm talking about, the way it's gone. Over here it's cracked. It's cracked off in there. See it there, it's gone. So I'm going to replace a section from here to here. And all I've been using is the scrap I got here. Over here in the end of the pipe anvil, I have an abundance of this stuff. Okay, it's the end of the actual steel that I got kicking around. And what I've been doing is I took a piece of this here and I trimmed it up. And this is what I came up with. It's the same as that there. That there should be long enough. I may have to trim off another one. But you can see all I've been doing is just cutting the lip off it, just leaving a little small lip on it. That's 18 gauge. In the truck, it's pretty close to that. So I got more here now. If I need to make more, I'm going to go ahead and trim this up and then go over and start fitting it. First thing I did is I went over and I cut the back lip off. Then I set up the piece of metal there and cut it to length, which I already got done. Now the problem I got here is that's a perfectly straight piece of metal, and there is a slight curvature in the back of this truck. So what I need to do is I'm going to have to curve this piece of metal first before I lay it in place to cut the rest of it out. Now the piece of metal, look down, it's nice and straight. All I do is I go over in the vise here and I hit it. This side here, buddy. Hit it through here. You can see the way that's raised up off of that now. And you look down that there now. There you go. Got a little curvature in that piece of metal now. So now when you look at that there, it's not straight no more. I can go over now and install that. And there it is there. And you look down it, you can see there's a curvature in it now. All I'm going to do here now is I'm going to scribe this here. and cut out inside the scribe. Tacked it in place there now. Get that all welded up. Have it all welded up. Then I took the grinder here and I grinded in this inside section here. It's going to be hard to get that with the pad and to get a nice crisp edge on the inside. So I'll just grind all that off and she's done. There you have it. That's all finished up. I went and drilled out all the holes. Cleaned up a few more spots, went around, cleaned it all up and got it all ready. What I'm going to put on here now is I just sanded some of this here. I noticed there's red oxide primer on it here. I found some here, a gallon of it, and I'm going to take a brush now and paint all this with red oxide primer. I'm going to do the same with the roof section because you're not going to be able to get nothing in there after it's all done. Now from factory, nothing was ever done with that, okay? I'm just trying to prolong it a bit better. Over here, I'll do the same thing. I'll put some on along this here. I'm going to keep it simple. Do with a brush. Get that put on. Don't that look lovely? All I done it with was a paintbrush. That'll be perfect for that. So it's now the next day. All this is dry. I let it overnight and left it alone. I'm getting ready now to install this here. I went over here and I did some trimming. I had to cut this down here on both sides. Had to lower that side there and lower that side there, so I got them trimmed off. I went up and I stripped the edge off up here. I found some filler right there. Look. Ooh, ouch. And so I'm getting ready here now. I'm going to be doing the cut and butt along here. The problem you're going to run into is getting this piece out. I can get it out through here, and I can get it out through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut here, down through here, a cut through here, and a cut through here. That's going to make it easier. I'll take it out in 4 pieces. I can get this section right here, and I can get this section through the middle here, and over here the same thing. I'll get this section over here. So I'm going to go ahead now and get them cut and get this thing put in place. Wasn't easy. You can see the trouble I has coming in across this corner here. You can see I got it all scratched up and whatever. Again here now, I got to trim this some more. After trimming it, and now that I got this down where I want it to be, this got to be trimmed down more. Up here is going to have to be trimmed. I can do all this stuff from in here, in the car, or in the truck, sorry. Across the back here, it still has to come down on the back side here. So I'm going to play around with that. I'm wondering if I can get a pair of vice grips in there and clamp that together. I got bolts here that bolts that together, and I think that's what's going to hold it on. But before it does that, I want to get these here fitting nicer on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some work on this to get some trimming up, and then close up this gap here. I'll bring you back when I get that all straightened away, and let's see what was involved in it. So I got it all bolted down here. I just got the bolts tightened up, and I've been going from side to side here, checking the fitment and on this cornered edge, trying to set this up so this can be welded. Sizing up what my gaps are like here on the doors. Because I cut this clear here, everything's out of whack here now. So I got to, what I got to be concerned with now is getting this section here welded up on both sides, and getting this section here lined up and fitting and tack welded in place on both sides. Not going to worry about none of that back there. I'm not going to weld none of this yet, because this here got to be welded from down on the bottom with spot welds. The bolts are going to hold it in place, but I am happy with it. The one thing you got to realize with these old trucks is that the fitment on an old 50s truck, 50s car, it was never ever perfect, okay? You take a modern car and how well they're fitting together and stuff like this, these did not fit like that, okay? I'm going to try my best to see if I can get a nice door seam on this side here, and same with the other side, and get the door opening and closing nice. So that's what I'm going to work on next. Just for starters, this is where I'm to. Look at the gap on that. Look. Whee! Oh. That's where I'm starting. If I had $1 for how long I've been at this, I can tell you, it had nothing to do with the fitment of the roof. The problem I had was this door. I couldn't get this door to actually swing past itself. And what I mean by swing past itself, when a door goes to, if you've removed the latch off it, the door should swing freely to the point that it will pass this edge, okay? This would not. This would get to about here and then bind up and be a bounce in it. And I could not figure out what was going on. I had to remove all the door rubbers. I ended up having to cut a section of the door off up here because these were always tight up in this corner, and we're just got a visor on it. I just assume we'll dress it now. And I ended up having to cut the corner off the door because it was touching there. And it seemed like to me that the rubber seal I had down, going down through here, was extremely tight. And then what I found then was when you push the door too, it was hitting places. And oh, I've been telling you, I've been at this, just trying to get this so it'll actually do that. Look. That's all I've been wanting it to do. That's got a nice, that closes nice now, and it's in past it. There's no strain on it, okay? And there's nothing worse than you click this here and there's a strain on the door, so there's no strain on that, right? Before, when you turn it, it popped out, because the door, if you turn the latch like this here, I can push that door past everything there now, see? Before, that used to get right there and then bind up on the front part of the door here, okay? Oh, I'm telling you, these trucks were brutal. By rights, all these trucks, one thing you'll find is the seams are never good on them, okay? They always get tight on the roof up here. And what I used to end up doing is I end up having to sometimes diagonally cut on them, because a lot of these here, the front mounts used to be bad, and people weld them up. But what ends up happening is this front end falls. When that falls, this corner comes down. And I used to turn around, jack this up, widen them out, get the door fitting, the opening, and then make up a new rocker section for it, right? I tell you, I've been doing some work with these trucks over the years. But I got this side fitting. And what I did then, I got it, like I had all this here tack welded in place. Up here, I got fitting and tack welded in place. Right? So this is all ready to go. I can go ahead now, and if I want to, and start welding all this up here, because I'm happy with the fit here. I got to go over there now and repeat this whole process again. I don't know. Just hopefully I'm not going to be at it like 3 or 4 hours like I was at this one. Anyway, let's get the other side welded up. Over here now, I have the latch removed, and this is what I was talking about. That's as far as that door will go, and you can hear it. It's hitting something. Up here in the corner, same as the other side. But it's springy, and it won't pass through it. Oh my. Well, I kind of got into it, and I just kept going, and that was it. I got all this here welded up, all the way in through on the inside there, in my own light again. Always in my own light. Up here, I ran into some troubles up here, and I didn't like it, and I cut it up, and I've taken a section out of there, and I ended up taking, I'd say almost an inch, and because the original roof and the original back had different thicknesses to it, and they didn't line up. So I had to cut back a bit farther in order to get this here to flow nice, to get it all right. And I had to replace a section of the actual drip rail itself. But I went ahead and I finished off the roof right here as well. Got all that done downside there. All that done there. And again, I've done that inside there. All I got left to do now on that there now is just put the little lip on it. It goes down here, there's a lip, goes from here to here. I got to make up little pieces to go there. I'm going to cut them out of the roof section. But I got that side done. I had to do some figuring here because this here was all bad down this corner hole in there. So I ended up welding all that up, grinding all that off, and welded it all solid. That usually was leaded there. And usually just came across here, I think, and then come up this way. The way the roof was, and this inner structure was separate from it. But now that I got that side done, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing all over again over on the other side. I'm not going to bore you with that because I got that much welding to do on this. I'm going to show you bits and bits of it, and I'm going to concentrate on getting that welded across here. Let's see if we can get this all welded up here now. So I went ahead, got them all ground dressed up. That comes across there. And then steps down and goes across this way here. I always like to put a step in a joint like that instead of just chopping it straight off. Put a step in, it gives it strength, so that when you're welding vertically and you're welding at another height, that way if anything happens and it wants to split or crack, it won't crack through the middle of it. Up top, this one here was pretty well straightforward and simple. I turned around and just welded that up. That had a real nice fit, that one did. Then I went ahead and I welded all this up in here. Welded all that on so the two pieces are welded together. Are sandwiched in there. Now I just got to go and weld this back in place. Next on the agenda. A lot of welding on this here. A lot of small little intricate things got to be done. And I'm just trying to get this done. It's just like, it's one of those jobs like, oh, I don't want to go at that. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, I don't want to go at that. And it's just like, oh, look, get it done. So that's the reason why I'm not like dragging you along there. I'm trying to get all the little things welded up. So all that's left is this up here. So I'm going to go ahead, fit this in place, clamp it in place, weld it up across there, weld it all down there, and then clamp it in place and fill all the plug welds. Get that done. Well, that is done. I got the braces all welded in place, and I got that welded back in place on there. Oh, I don't know what that stuff is made of, but it's something. Had, you know, a hard time welding it. Had to weld it a couple of times. You know, but still, it was thin stuff. All I got left now is that section right there. And this window section will be installed. I've been turning around and I've been welding up a bit as I go and actually work my way across, and I removed the piece from inside. Now I can go back and start welding this here. I'm going to try to finish this off as I'm going, just in case I start running any problems in it. I'm going to grind and dress this, then I'll do another 6 or 8 inches, and I'll grind and dress that. I get to the middle, then I'll start moving on from there. I'm just trying to finish this all off, so it's not too much grinding to do. So I'll go ahead now and get this all ground up. It's tricky. Had to do some pie cuts over here. This body had a different shape than this corner because I want to say because of the window. I said this corner's drawn in more, so this here had to be split and rolled down some more. I had to do the same thing over here, but it worked out pretty good. Okay, very little amount of body work I needed there. Slow going. there you have it. All cut and butt welded into there. Tucked a small bit here, nothing serious. It's right on the curvature. So it's easy to repair in terms of like a bit of filler, stuff like that. This roof's got a bit of filler in it anyway. There's a dent or something right here that's been filled. So no big deal. It was a big undertaking, this roof. I can tell you right now, trying to get all this to fit right. I wanted to have it on the roll. See, anytime you do any type of welding and you can take it in a roll, it's a lot easier to hide any amount of work you got to do there. And it also gives it lots of strength because you got two curved panels fighting against each other that you're trying to weld together. But I'm pleased with that. It feels pretty good going on there. All around the side here. The side here came out really nice. Right. But that's it. I got the rear panel installed. Here's the sections I cut out. These are the two middle ones here. That's the piece for over on that side over there. You remember earlier I cut them in the middle. And I had so I can take it out in two pieces. And this is all I did. I went in, grabbed them with a pair of vice grips, worked them, and broke them off, and took them out that way. And the corner piece did the same thing with it. You can see the way that was, that's the way that was in around there. From the roof. Just a simple little cut and butt in through there. And then just reach in the back side here and take the panel out. Well, that's it. That was a big job, that was. It's a big undertaking. But I got it all welded up. All my corners are all done right nice now. She's all joined in through here. Now the whole process of getting it all prepped so you can actually paint everything. It'll all have to be done a blend and everything on this one here because there's only a patina style paint job on it, so shouldn't be that hard to try to blend into it. But there's very little body work got to be done on this. Just up around that little rolled edge there a small bit now. And then get all that painted and then install all the glasses and everything in it. And there you have it. A 3-window conversion to 5. But I can tell you it's a big undertaking. You could buy these sections in kits. Okay, and you can buy this section with the inner panel and you can put it in yourself. In the long run, that probably would have been an easier process to cut into the original roof and then put them sections in. We opted to do it this way because it was just harder. Like I had to cut section out of there in order to get it because of the way everything was shaped. Like you look at these panels here, okay? This panel here, this panel came up and went in, this bottom one here, and had a lip on it. This panel came down and rested on top of it. So they were sandwiched together with an inside lip. Then this inner panel here, that came down and went underneath the bottom of this one here and was bolted on. So you couldn't see the spot welds from two of these because of this inner panel. Once this inner panel is welded in, you couldn't get at it. So yeah, I had to end up cutting all that off it. It's hard to see there, I'm going to light on it. But I had to cut all that section out of there. And just put it in the way it was originally, like that. And I had to cut that section out of it, so I wasn't able to put these back in because the original ones belonged to the truck, and they were plug welded in through there. Got all of them done. But that's it. Another hobble done. Get it all put back together and everything now. But anyway, something a bit different. It's a big undertaking. Anyway, I hope the tips are good, and until next time.